Welcome back to the New Music Alliance Radio Hour, and I'm Mark Ramone here with Mistress Miriam and Tobey Sol LaRoche, and this is our back to school special featuring all artists who attended college in Western New England. And you just heard Tune Yards with Water Fountain, and we started off with Christopher Jackson, Benny's Dispatch, off the In the Heights original Broadway cast recording. Let's
Yeah.
go to Tune Yards, Water Fountain. Merrill Garbus is part of this duo, and Merrill's from New Canaan, Connecticut, and attended Smith College up in Northampton.
Yes, she did. And she was a theater major. Important to note because it's
Mhm.
the school college show here. And she's so brilliant just as a songwriter. And the sound that comes out of this band is something else. And Toby, I understand that you've seen them live.
Seen them a couple times live. My first Green River Festival in Greenfield, Massachusetts, back when I first moved to the area, and I saw them again recently at the Iron Horse in Northampton, Mass. But yeah, I really, really love the Tune Yards. I knew their music a little before I saw them in person, but seeing them perform really drove my passion home for this band. By the way, there's an amazing episode of this podcast called Song Exploder, which is a show that breaks down and like listens to all the individual tracks of a song and then interviews the artist about creating the song. So you get a really nice breakdown of how the song comes to be. And breaking down all those layers is a really cool thing to do with a band like the Tune Yards, because the Tune Yards often tours as a duo. The two of them, they loop a bunch of things in, and just the types of effects that they get with all the different rhythmic percussive elements they use is always really fascinating. So I highly recommend listening to that episode of Song Exploder with the Tune Yards for this particular song, actually. Huge fan of these guys.
They're great. Just so good. And before that, we heard Benny's Dispatch by the great Lin-Manuel Miranda from the musical In the Heights. It's important to note that this play went all the way to Broadway, won just a gaggle of Tonys, and he wrote the first draft of this musical when he was at Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut. He also was a theater studies major. Lin-Manuel I believe he started an improv hip hop group at Wesleyan where they would take suggestions and make up hip hop songs on the spot, which very much comes from my sort of background. What I love about this, and this is from the Broadway cast recording, and there is, of course, a film version of this. In the Heights takes place in Washington Heights, and Benny and Mina, who are in this, are the two romantic leads. Benny works for the cab company, and he's the dispatcher. And so he's talking to all the cabs. And I love how, of course, this is a live orchestra, how you have this whole horn section, and they're the horns to the cars, and it's
Hmm.
it's like so fun and alive, and it's so exciting between the hip hop and the singing. Christopher Jackson, who plays Benny, also originated the role of George Washington in the original cast of Hamilton, and so this is a younger Christopher Jackson here.
It's really cool to hear. I don't know this musical very well, but I do love that. I love hearing the like show tune kind of song with like that reggaeton beat, like I feel like I haven't heard that a lot personally. So I'm really excited to explore more of this show.
It's very new. They say you should write what you know. And for Lin-Manuel Miranda, he knew that he wanted to write musical theater, but he also knew that he didn't have the range. He wrote for himself, basically. He didn't have the range to sing the great Broadway roles. He could do hip hop. His vocal range isn't, a big Broadway vocal range. And the roles that he wrote for himself in The Heights and Hamilton, he's played Alexander Hamilton, he wrote for himself, which is a great idea when you think about it. What bands do, of course.
Fabulous. So, what do we have coming up next?
Oh my goodness. There's just so much. We're going to hear, if you can believe it, we're going to hear from Moby. But before that, we're going to hear from Francis Forever, Space Girl.